We've made it to the streets of Gion. We were told to come after 5 p.m. because it's when the streets really come alive. Well, here we are in Gion, and we have not seen a geisha yet. We didn't really expect to, but the night isn't over yet. We've been talking about how we noticed that even in the most entertaining districts of Kyoto, that everybody's very quiet. Everything that happens that's a little sultry or sinful happens behind closed doors.
Last night we went to a bar restaurant, and we were inside a cubicle, like a rectangular cubicle with a big table and pillows on the floor, and they brought drinks, beers, cocktails. We were a group of around 8 people, and there were a lot of things happening. Like there were so many other groups. There was music, but then everything happens indoors. You can't hear the music on the streets. You can't hear the people celebrating or speaking loudly. It is very quiet. This street is a little bit louder, but generally Kyoto feels very, very quiet. And then the action happens always indoors.
This is the main street in Gion, and nobody smokes on the streets. There's smoking spots on the street, but they're designated, so you have to get in this little shelter basically to smoke. As you can hear, there's traffic, but it's quiet. There's not even a lot of honking like you would have in a big city. There's lots of bars and restaurants and little cafes. Plenty to do. I mean, there's just shop after shop after shop, but the general feeling here is that of a very reserved and calm and peaceful neighborhood.
Oh, another thing is that people like to dress up, so there are different shops in this neighborhood, Gion, stores specifically for you to rent an outfit, like a kimono, for women and men, and then they walk around this neighborhood that way.
Which could be confusing if you're looking for a geisha.
You really have to know how maikos and geikos look like. They have a very particular way to dress, and their kimonos are very, very expensive, and they have a very particular way to paint their faces. So you could tell who is a maiko and a geiko if you have done your homework.
Okay, we'll do our best to get a shot of one if we see one, but no promises. When you get to Gion, the main street is Shihodori. It has some cool shops and stuff on it, but the part that we found to be really cool is south of there, where you can see this kind of stuff. It's a more traditional neighborhood with lots of restaurants. It's not a cheap place to eat, and actually we didn't eat here, but oh my god, did we smell some of the food that was coming out of these doors. And we looked at the menus. There's a lot of shabu shabu, which is a traditional thinly sliced beef cooked in a boiling pot with other vegetables and things like that. There's a sample restaurant. This is pretty typical right here. Have a look at their menu. You can get your tempura, your sushi. If you're on the cheap, you'll do what we did, which is grab some peanuts and some tortilla chips from a local liquor store. But we've definitely had lots of the traditional Japanese meals, and we can only imagine that this would be the place to be if you really wanted to get a good one. So we just hit stop on the camera, and one of the cabs pulled up with the lucky leaf on it, and a geisha got out and ran into the building. So we missed it on film. Such luck. Just after that, we started seeing geishas all over the place. They like to use these cabs with a 4-leaf clover on the roof, so we started looking out for those cabs, and sure enough, we saw this one get out. That's a geisha, folks. These ladies in the foreground are just dressed in kimonos. They're not actually geishas. This one is a real geisha. You can tell by the style of her kimono and her painted face.